Hey guys, Jeff here. There's a few phrases I hear Christians say a lot that I think sometimes we don't give thought to what they actually mean or what we're communicating. So I thought I'd make a list of the top 10 things I think that we as Christians should stop saying. Number one, the first thing we should stop saying is when something bad happens, I always hear this sometimes, people say, well, God's not giving you more than you can handle. And I kind of cringe because I don't know how true that really is. I think it's actually the opposite. I think God gives us way more than we can handle so that we actually have to lean and depend on Him as a good and gracious Father. When you read the scriptures, you see that things happen to people almost as a way of God then allowing them to lean on Him and depend on Him more. Number two, this is a closely related one to number one, but if something, again, bad happens, people then also say, well, everything happens for a reason. And even if that's theologically, technically correct, sometimes it's deeply, deeply offensive to people who are in hurt or who are in mourning. If something tragic just happens to someone, the one thing they don't want to hear is, well, everything happens for a reason. Sometimes things are senseless. Sometimes there's evil in the world that rips and shreds things apart. And that's why we have grace and the beauty of Jesus who is victorious over that evil. But just be careful when you say that because sometimes it's the last thing someone wants to hear. I think Christians need to learn the ministry of presence. And what I mean by that is when things go wrong, they need to learn how to sit in someone's grief. They need to learn how to just be present. Just be a force and a person of love next to them saying, hey, I'm here for you. I love you. We are in the trenches together. Number three, this one happens a lot of times at really kind of big churches who usually have the fog and the lights and the electric guitar. And sometimes during the service, they usually either say one of two things. They either say, one, will all the visitors please stand? And then they usually give them a clap, which I mean, that's gracious and that's awesome, but it's also exceptionally awkward for the visitors. Or two, they do that thing where they say, okay, 60 seconds, say hi to your neighbor. Now, I'm all for saying hi to my neighbor, but I'd rather do that in the parking lot or in the lobby when it's not forced. But when you give me 60 seconds to say hi to my neighbor, and after I say, hi, what's your name? And then I tell them my name and I look at the clock and there's 54 more seconds left, exceptionally awkward. Just let relationships happen naturally. Number four, sometimes Christians say, when they're in need of prayer, they say, I covet your prayers. Now, I don't know why we use that word. Can you just say you need their prayers? Can you just say you want their prayers? You would love their prayer? There's no need really to take an archaic Old Testament term that actually is a sin and say, I covet your prayers. It's like I'm lusting after your prayers. That's weird, that's gross, that's awkward. Just say I want or I love or I need. Number five, this is a hilarious one. Sometimes when someone's single in the church or maybe they're in their 20s or 30s and they're not dating at the time, some older someone meaning well, because all these usually we mean well, they'll come up to them and say, oh, well, you must be blessed with the gift of singleness. Now that's the last thing someone who's single wants to hear. A lot of times people are like, well, if this is a gift, can I take it back? Do you have the receipt? Maybe I don't want to be single, right? And so I think you need to let them journey on their own through the text like 1 Corinthians where it talks about that and if that's their calling towards ministry, but maybe that they're also not blessed with the gift of singleness. This one might be the most awkward on the list, and this one usually happens in a youth pastor context where they say, well, I just need to love on some kids, or that's my job to just love on some kids. Now, that's weird. Love is a perfectly fine verb. You don't need to add on, right? The only person I want loving on me is my wife, Alyssa. No one else can love on me. That's just awkward. It's weird. And especially when it's a youth pastor with kids, creepy. Just love is totally fine. Use that word. You'll be okay. Number seven is sometimes when you're talking with a friend or someone at church and they want to say no, but they feel that that's wrong. So they say, well, I'll pray about it. Now, if you're going to pray about it, man, say that. That is awesome and that is good. But if you're just using I'll pray about it as a synonym for no, or I actually don't want to say no, then that's a problem. Just say no. It's okay to say no, right? We can't say yes to everything and say, no, I can't do that, or no, I'm not able to do that. Instead of, well, I'll just pray about it. And then you awkwardly want to get away and then you text them no because that's easier. Number eight, this is usually on a bumper sticker where it says something to the effect of Jesus is my co-pilot. Now that might just be borderline heresy. Jesus, you're not driving the plane and Jesus is over here handing you peanuts, right? Jesus isn't the flight attendant or the co-pilot. Jesus is actually the pilot and we're way, way, way in the back by the bathroom where it stinks and we actually want to get off the plane because we're in rebellion towards him, but he says, no, I'm going to save you. Without the pilot, we die. That's more like what Jesus is like. He's not the co-pilot and we're not up there chilling with him flying. Number nine, this is a very famous one, especially in America, where people say, God helps those who helps themselves. And that's, again, just not true. When you read the scripture, God gives grace to the humble. He gives grace to the people who need it, the downtrodden, the brokenhearted, the people who have no ability to help themselves. That's exactly who God helps. So to say that God helps those who help themselves is actually putting a huge barrier between what God actually says is true about who he helps, and that's everyone who is willing to receive his help. Last one, number 10. People usually say if someone's struggling with something they've done in their past, well, they say to get over this, you just need to forgive yourself. And that's just not true. What you actually need to soak in is the fact that God in Jesus, in his kingdom movement on the cross and resurrection, has already forgiven you, right? God is the highest authority, not you. And when you rest in what God has done, this declaration that you're new, you're forgiven, you're a new creation, that's when you can start to walk in new life and have this journey. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. A few quick things. One is, let me know more topics that you'd like me to answer. I love hearing your guys' questions and dialoguing and engaging with you guys. And the other thing is, there's a big thing going on right now, and that is that you can get my audiobook, Jesus is Greater Than Religion, read by me in my voice for completely free down here, jeffbethke.com/audible. You can actually get anyone's audiobook if you want. You get a free credit when you sign up. Love you guys, subscribe, and I'll see you later.